Jewel. There's maybe a couple left I could track down, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do something different with my life now.
Yeah. So we convinced him and Calvin, the mage.
Well, and they did say, we're tracking these 10 mages that killed an entire town, and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds like something an Eve would do. Yeah, we'll help you with that.
Wait, were they at war? No, sorry.
Nah, they'll kill guys who kill the town. It's like killing Eve.
Yeah. So, we've got these two horrible racists now helping us out.
They more empirist, really.
Empirist, But, so anyway. So they decide to come along with us as we go hunting these 10 mages, and they also have a large group of peasants that they've been accumulating. We're not exactly sure who or where they're from, that sort of stuff. So we head out on the road. Now,
the next morning.
Actually,
it's worth mentioning in the morning, because they slept the night at the inn, everyone in town heard that they killed the Butcher of Bracken Ridge. So there was like a big to-do, and the whole town was coming out and like celebrating and congratulating them. Of course, Henry and Calvin are totally soaking this up. Everyone is...
Part of the celebrations involved burning the inn down, unfortunately.
Cricket used her cinematic point from last level because she tried using it several times for useful things, but she ended up using her cinematic point to compose a song about the Butcher of Bracken Ridge.
And it was later that Shannon mentioned it, but Serendipity added Slayer of... Well, no, it's not good enough now. Added Slayer of the Butcher of Bracken Ridge to her name.
Oh.
So her name is now Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malor Slayer of the Butcher of Bracken Ridge.
She did say, however, that you didn't necessarily have to include the Slayer of the Butcher of Bracken Ridge in... You can call her Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malor for short.
Because it's going to get longer.
I want to hear you say the full name every time, Brian.
In a formal situation, she's Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malor Slayer of the Butcher of Bracken Ridge.
Or if you are angry at her for doing something wrong.
So in character as a bard, did you actually sing the song?
No.
You didn't
actually.
You could have surprised everybody by busting out a little dubstep, maybe.
I mean, Slayer of the Butcher of Bracken Ridge is really kind of unfair. She stood outside the inn and watched it burn.
She kept him from fleeing while he slept.
That's true,
She said that was why she didn't put the Slayer. She just put Slayer, because she was one of the Slayers.
Yeah, it was a group effort. So anyway.
Sick for the Slayer of Bracken Ridge.
So we,
I guess if you count Henry and Calvin, although they were pretty useless, but...
They forced the fight to happen. If it wasn't for them, we may not have slain him. We may have captured him alive.
Slayed him when you took red pain slaves.
Capture the Butcher of Bracken Ridge.
Yeah, which is better because then we wouldn't have had to kill all those pain slaves. That would have been horrible. That would have been nice.
The throat splitting of the throat slitter is a Butcher.
So anyway, that's interesting. If he was asleep and you stabbed him in the neck, would he wake up? He wouldn't feel the pain.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd wake up or not.
Interesting. There's a vulnerability.
The sound they wake him up.
It's true.
It never came up, but I mean that's essentially what Henry did. He snuck in there and tried to kill him in his sleep, and he woke up, and things went south.
I think you might need to make the sound that would wake you up if you were stabbed in the neck.
Oh, that's true. When a slave dies, you get that wrong.
He could set up an alarm system and wake himself up.
For all you know, he had like 20 more pain slaves that Henry went through before he got there, and then finally the Butch was like, what? No,
you'd be jostled away.
Anyway,
So celebration.
right, and then we're like, well, that's all well and good, but we've got all this stuff on our plate, we gotta go. So, the next morning we left. Now, Cricket has picked up a ritual phantom steed, so we now all had horses. She can summon horses. And, I should have been making an Arcana check, because if you make a really good Arcana check when you cast that spell, the horses get special abilities. They can ignore difficult terrain. If you get really high, they can fly.
How'd you get that?
Yeah. Anyway, So we headed out on the road. Now this group of mages seemed to be heading in the direction of Grey Ridge, which is where we wanted to go anyway. So this is all bonus. This is all good. We carry on, and we catch up fairly quickly because we're on horses and they're not. They're on foot. And then we're left with the question of what do we do now that we've caught them? You know, it's like,
Yeah, there was
I've got the tiger's tail. Now what?
Yeah, there was a lot of
Charging,
Yeah, we spent
burning them all.
We spent an hour just arguing about what to do.
Yeah, and just at this time, all the debating and the whole session was probably, it was more than half the session.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of an odd situation, right? There's 10 mages and a whole bunch of commoners, and they're quite possibly out of their league.
And only 400 questions.
So they want to find out, they want to stop them, but they're scared of them. And so there was just everyone had a different opinion on what should be done in this situation.
We have no idea why they killed that town. I mean, maybe it was self-defense for all we know. That orphanage fired first. So, fortunately, Cricket, as party leader, managed to keep the debate to only about half of the session.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, it'd be like, okay, everyone, tell Cricket what you want to do, and then she'll tell you to do it, which is sort of her role as party leader. And it works real well. It's a good role. It's a good role. Yeah. They made her the party leader. Anyway.
So yeah, it's like telling your dog to be in charge of what's here. Yeah.
Well, smart dog.
Very smart dog. Yeah, I'm actually, until Serendipity Van Goldstrider Lord joined the party, Cricket had the highest intelligence score. Everyone else was like 10 or lower. She's 13. And even now that Serendipity's joined, Serendipity is like not really in the party sort of thing.
Yeah, she kind of like just forced herself in.
So it's funny, every time Cricket called for a vote, she would go around the table and collect everyone's votes and not collect Serendipity Van Goldstrider Valor. I of course, I out of character, I don't want to exclude Shannon, so I do try and, pay attention to what she wants, but in character, there's that definite thing. She always skips Serendipity Van Goldstrider Valor when calling for a vote. Fortunately, we don't have that unit with us anymore, so you're like, and what do you think, Tawakibu? Anyway, so what we ended up deciding to do was a whole bunch of stuff. Henry, the rogue NPC, he went to go and spy on the camp of the...
Yeah, and that mainly happened because he was just, someone's like, okay, you should do this. He's like, okay, I go.
Yeah.
And so and while they're debating it, he's going and doing it. So
It turns out, he's a rogue, but he's not a very good rogue.
well, I mean, he's not any better than really a party or anything. So he went there.
I think I'm better at
And he was able to count that there were 27 people in the party. But when he was trying to count how many mages there were as opposed to commoners, he got seen or someone was like, hey, someone's there, and then he ran away.
Yeah. So he managed to get us a number. That was it, really.
Yeah.
And then then Aurora decided to do something. I think that was the next thing that happened.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Aurora was like,
Yes.
let's just go and talk to them. Let's just ask them.
That is totally what some of my characters would do.
And so Aurora was insistent. She was just going to go down there and talk with them. And Cricket was insistent. Oh no, she's going to get killed. I have to go there and stand in between her and the people killing her.
Yeah.
So Cricket insisted on coming along. And now Cricket and Aurora are the two diplomatic powerhouses of the party. Aurora's a bit better at diplomacy than Cricket, but Cricket is definitely no spring chicken either. She's really good at that. And she's the bluff master. Aurora is not.
Aurora's bad at bluff because that's one of her racial abilities. She gets a bonus to diplomacy. She's a star, so she glows. She's like Stardust. when she's happy. It just really puts people on at ease. But she also is really bad at bluffing because when she's happy, she glows. So she gets a bit.
Read her very easily.
Yeah. But that said, she still has high diplomacy. Her bluff actually isn't that terrible, but she gets a pretty big penalty to bluff in favor of a bonus to diplomacy that like no other race gets a bonus like that. So I give her a pretty big penalty to bluff.
So we decided to go down there, and she will do the talking when it comes to diplomacy, and Cricket will do the talking when it comes to bluffing. Our story is that we were back at that town. There was that big kerfuffle, and the two of us, Cricket and Aurora,
The in town, not the town that disappeared.
Yeah, the in town. Because they don't know that we know that they're involved in anything. They don't know that we were at that town.
Like this time, you don't really know they're involved for sure, right?
Oh, well, we do.
Okay.
When we're spying on them, actually, Serendipity Van Goldstrider Malore is able to recognize one of them. Because she's seen them through the object reading.
Okay.
So she's like, oh yeah, that was the guy that was raining destruction down on that thing. So it was totally that guy. There's not so much moral ambiguity in this case compared to some of the other stuff.
At this time, I think Henry must have reported this because you knew that they were Maybe it was later because Henry did sneak in there again.
Yeah, I kept trying.
Okay, yeah, never mind. Delete.
Okay. So, Cricket and Aurora ride up to this encampment of mages and peasants. And let's see, how did it go in detail? Aurora is being her usual self. She just like wants to talk with everyone and know their life stories and just be friends and all that sort of stuff. I'm not even sure if at this point, she's thinking about, we'll figure out what they're doing or anything. She's just
being nice and
some people to talk to. I can't remember why I'm here, but let's talk to these people.
I like people.
So yeah.
But they were particularly unreceptive. Like usually, everyone was thinking how silly it was, but usually Aurora's personableness is actually quite effective. But on these guys, it was particularly ineffective.
They were very grumpy gusses.
Because Aurora's going on. Finally, Cricket gets out the story that hey, we're traveling alone. We want to travel with a group.
Yeah.
Can we travel with you? And I was just like, no. We're really concerned. No.
We aren't going to be a bother. We just want to be in proximity to you in case there's bandits and stuff.
No, we'd like you to leave.
Yeah,
Please go away.
It was very, very, very rude. There was no getting through to them. And Aurora's being super diplomatic.
And that's just really great on their nerves. Like they're just
bluffing their head off. It's awesome, but they're just not buying it.
And normally that doesn't really happen. Like, I mean, as much as her bubbly demeanor is usually actually quite effective. So it doesn't usually grate on people's nerves.
Oh yeah.
But these guys are just getting more and more annoyed and infuriated.
It's hilarious. It's like they're starting to get ready to attack Aurora and Cricket almost, or they're really angry, or not angry, but they're very hostile. And so
the one guy does that, tries to do an intimidate check, and he's like, "I'd like you to leave," and he sort of
tries to do this aura.
He does this spell that swats him in flame or whatever to show how powerful he is. So the leader guy, but I roll a 1 on his intimidate check, so it just backfires. Just all this, yeah, I'd like you to leave, and then all these weird backfiring spells go off. It's very ineffective.
You're unimpressed. Or yeah, this guy's kind of lame. It was particularly amusing. Aurora is just not getting that. These guys are starting to turn really hostile. It's dangerous. So Cricket is trying to sort of intervene and defuse the situation, we'll move on and all that sort of stuff. And then Aurora says, Cricket, quiet. So I was like, and everyone else, they're not there, but the players are like, no, she just told the voice of reason to be quiet. She has to be.
Yeah. So Cricket was quite obedient to standing by Aurora.
Yeah, Aurora is just rambling on and on, sharpening her
like really annoyed people who are heavily armed if you annoy them enough. But at that point, they were just like, please leave now.
So eventually we do leave. Even Aurora finally gets the message that these people don't want to be friends, which is very strange.
Yeah, she's kind of upset by how rude they are to her. Just like she can't believe that they're just...
So the two of us ride on because that's what we would do. We're heading in that direction. It wouldn't make sense for us to go backwards. So we head forward. And what we decide to do...
Because the party doesn't want to blow the cover that they know anything about these guys.
Yeah. They still don't know that we know anything. So Aurora and Cricket ride on ahead. And then Cricket is really good at stealth. And Aurora wants to go back and report to the party. So we split up even further. Cricket hides at the side of the road. And Aurora loops back around through the wilderness to go back to rejoin the party. And Cricket hides there and watches the group as they pass by to see if she can learn anything more. Not really. Doesn't learn much now.
Well, that is where you saw... I don't know when it was, but you got a count. Someone got a count around this time.
Well, Henry got that count.
But you got the full... There are 10 mages and 17 commoners.
Yeah.
And they all just look really sour-faced. They're just like... Just
really
grumpy and like grim, and some of them are like sighing.
And now these guys have been celebrating after they killed that town in the object reading missions. So something changed there. Also, the peasants, they're teaching them. Sorry.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I just didn't remember when you guys found that out, if it was Henry or what.
Definitely, by that point, we found it out. The wizards are teaching the peasants magic. So they're like heading towards first level wizards.
But neither the wizards nor their apprentices, like even when they're teaching them, they're just sitting there like looking depressed, like they're, or maybe more grumpy than depressed. But
That's how many triggers.
So Aurora looks around. Of course, she encounters an NPC shepherd or something off in the wilderness along the way. It takes forever just talking to them. Unfortunately, that all happened off screen. So the party gets back together, and we continue following the group of mages. Let me see. We're heading towards a town. Did we get ahead of them? I think we did. Yeah, we decided to. We again started discussing at great length what we should do next.
yeah, there was a long discussion.
And then we ultimately decided we should get to whatever town it is they're going to first. And then we'll see them arrive there. So, we're on horses, so we're faster than them. So we can do that. We loop around them, head off ahead of them, get to the next town. And we, get rooms in the inn and we're settling down. And then they arrive and they set up camp inside town. And they send a mage and a peasant into town to buy supplies. And Cricket and Aurora see the guys come into town. These two guys come into town. We're like, okay, now there's only two of them. They've separated their party, the fools. Only a complete moron would send two members of the party out away from the rest of the group. So, Aurora wants to take two on the get to know them thing. So Aurora and Cricket go down to the marketplace where these guys are getting supplies. Everyone else in the party are like, okay, now's our chance. We'll ambush this guy and take a prisoner and interrogate him. And Cricket is pretty much aware of this. Aurora is not. And Cricket chooses not to tell Aurora for her own good.
nearby.
If Aurora was asked her what was up, Cricket would tell her that.
Until then.
It's for the best that she knows what's in the plan. So, hey, it may not be necessary if we can get some good information out of the picture. So they're buying some chickens and turnips and stuff. And we go up to them. And they recognize us, of course, we're those two people they met on the road.
I get some more pictures.
Yeah, and it makes sense that we're here because we went on ahead of them. So we continue with the same routes. You know, that we're two travelers on the road together. And, you know, would you please let us caravan with you? And they're still very like, no.
Yeah, the guy's just getting so annoyed. He's infuriated.
And then finally, the mage is like, second thought, yes. Why don't you come with us back to our camp?
Except they didn't make their...
Away from all these witnesses.
Except they didn't make their insight check, so instead he was just like, alright, fine, I changed my mind. You can come with us.
Yeah.
And they was like, really great! And they both start following along behind him. And finally, Aurora makes this crazy diplomacy check to try to, like, convince the peasant to be her friend. So finally the peasant, after this happens, the peasant, still kind of annoyed, but he goes up to the mage and whispers in his ear, which Cricket hears, and says, why don't we just let them go? Kill him. And so he's like, alright, fine, change my mind, you can't come with us. And Aurora is heartbroken. Just so, like, just so hurt that they changed their mind.
Nope, she's gone.
And it was at that moment that the ambush was sprung.
So, first, we made initiative and we got a surprise round. So, Croesus spear butts the peasant in the head. Bam! Turns out he's a minion, so he goes down. He does it non-lethal.
Right.
So, the peasant goes down now, Cricket she leveled up and she has prepared herself totally to fight the Butcher of Bracken Ridge. Yeah, now we're going to do it right. So, one of the things she got was a feat that lets her use bolas very effectively. Because if we're going to fight people with pain slaves, you need all sorts of non-lethal, non-damage dealing ways to take them down. So she successfully bolas the wizard, which means he's immobilized for a round. And then the party all goes
Surrounds him on every side and starts hammering on him.
Hammering on him.
And they start missing him with surprisingly high rolls and freaking out a little bit.
Super high rolls and they miss.
But they do get him some.
Yeah, we get him a little bit of damage. Not his nuts, but he's immobilized. So then it's finally his round. What was the first thing he did? It was the cone of hope.
He snapped his fingers.
Oh, right, and
teleport to swap places with, I think it was Cricket. And so the whole party, except for Serendipity now, is all in a nice little area that he cone of colds them, doing massive damage, like bloodying them all, I think.
It was quite painful. And at this point, we're like, yeah, we can barely hit this guy, and he just bloodied us all in one area. And it was like a super high roll, hit everyone. No one missed, because I hit a jig shot, so I missed it.
Right.
He didn't miss anyone.
He didn't miss anyone.
So we're like, yeah, this guy's pretty tough. Let's do our nature checks and find out just how tough this guy is.
Arcana.
Yeah. We just made level 6 as a party. He's a level 15 elite. Fortunately, we took the minion out in the first round, though, so he's on his own. So we're like, okay, I think we're going to spend our dailies in this fight.
I think everyone was under the impression that this was like a game where it would be auto level to their level, but like I said, I didn't expect them to find out about these mages or know anything about them. So they're the level that they are, and that's level 15. So, or at least this guy.
It'll give you a ballpark though.
Yeah, I've been doing it because I want, because the people would have some sort of sense of how they compare.
Awesome, yeah.
And so even though in character they don't know that it's level 15, but they still would have a sense of the difference in power. So I just give them the level.
So anyway, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting fight. So we start dumping.
Sorry.
Okay. So we start dumping everything we got on this guy. One of my other abilities that I got from my level up is this Nito power called Glimpse of the Future, where I roll 3d20, keep the best one, and then at some point during that encounter, I can give that roll to someone else. And I do that, and I get an 18, which means I can make some auto hit, basically.
Which is super useful against this guy, because like people have been missing him on die rolls of like 15 or whatever.
Now, Hank gets in there, and he manages to deliver, I think, a life-ending strike.
He blows all his dailies in this one mega boom attack.
And he hits. He doesn't require my free hit.
He rolled a 19 or 18 or something.
It was fantastic because it did like 40 hit points of damage with one blow.
And the mage was already hurt a bit. So they actually managed to bloody the mage. At which point they're like, maybe this is doable.
And I think it is. I've been analyzing it since then. 40 hit points blew up to bloody. He did a little bit hurt before that. So he's probably got the ballpark of 40 to 50, maybe 60 hit points left. Okay. About there. At most 60, I'd say. And we can't hit him with beans, but amongst the party, we have a variety of abilities that can do auto damage. And if we bring all of those to bear, I figure we can do 20 points of damage per round automatically. Plus, we'll be throwing everything else we've got at her. Some of that will get through. Plus, Cricket can make sure at least one thing gets through with her 18. So I think we could be able to do this, given like maybe 2 or 3 rounds at most.
Assuming he doesn't sleep.
I've bullet him twice now. He's immobilized. In fact, I think right now he's bullet.
As I recall.
He just finished his turn.
Right.
Yeah, anyway, so at this moment of the telling, yes.
No, I think when the session ended, he was still. No, that's right. Yes, it just ended. His bullet, and I haven't got it again because I did something else.
No, you haven't had a turn yet.
Oh, right, which means I could bullet him again. Right. Except I'm not likely to hit. I was lucky to hit twice.
You can auto hit if it's important.
Well, Ebola would not be a variant. Oh yes, when he cold us, he included his fallen comrade in the cone of cold and killed him.
Which reminds me of something. I was going to mention this at next session because I forgot something should have happened then, but I forgot about it. And I was going to mention it being next session, but I could give you a sneak preview of what I should have said happened. When that happened, the peasant guy basically he sort of like turned black and melted. Sort of like if you imagine, it's sort of like in like a video game where like some like it's like Dragon Age Origins or whatever, where like the guy turns black and then like fades away. But sort of imagine him sort of blackening, turning into a lump and just melting into nothing. So the peasant is gone now.
Well, that actually could be quite handy because at this point we decided our original plan was to take a prisoner so we could interrogate him. We're like, no, holy crap, this guy's way too dangerous. We gotta kill him as fast as we can, and we gotta take his body and flee so that the rest of the guys don't find out that we killed him. But if his body's gonna melt away like that, that's even better.
Wow.
That's the peasant.
Self-fleeting evidence.
The peasant that melted away. The wizard.
So you're leaving the cover run in sight, then it'll be only 6 more fire.
In this case, we're a lot more confident that these guys are bad So she was okay with that. And now that things have turned super deadly, I think she's okay with that as well.
And she did the thing where she has him next to him and he's weakened, which makes a big difference. Like
That really helps.
Yeah, his round was it was sort of sucky because he wasn't able to teleport again because it was a recharge thing and didn't recharge. And he's immobilized, so he can't move, and he's weakened, and there was no way for him to hit more than 2 people at once, and he was marked by Croesus. So he just used his crappy at will on Croesus and Aurora because he didn't want to. Because he actually has like a thing where you give him like wizard spells or whatever, so he actually has encounters that he doesn't want to blow. So he just did a crappy fire attack on his next turn.
We're actually doing not too badly. I think Pickett is above bloody, barely. Or she's just below bloody. Anyway, she's right around bloody. Hank actually currently has more hit points than he started with. He's got temporary hit points up the wazoo.
As long as he gets hit on the wazoo.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's a ship, so he can put his wazoo whenever he wants. So anyway, yeah. I think we could last a couple more rounds. And if we last a couple more rounds, we could take him down. The main question is...
Horrible murder.
Not horrible murder, justified murder.
Hey, you don't know why they go.
Maybe if they tell us, we won't have to murder them.
Maybe if you ask them, they would tell you.
We did ask them.
You didn't ask them specifically about the town.
No, we were just
You're like, hey, can we just tag along and be annoying? They're like, no.
No, the issue was just, hey, can we talk? And they're like, no. But this is why we like to talk. No. We're not going to...
And the next step is kill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, can you break a 20? No. Well, you're dead.
Wow, I had no idea you were evil.
Now, the big difference here between this guy and the Butcher of Bracken Ridge is we have eyewitnesses that saw him murder a town.
Yes, we don't understand. How could have been charging at that exact moment?
Yeah, the town might have started it.
That lumber mill looked...
He went to that town and was like, can you break a 20? And they're like, no!
There's a certain point where you got to stop trying to excuse and come up with reasons why. And this is Cricket saying this.
No. I agree. I think we're more trying to cast into like the doubtful reasoning of past.
We're really just casting into light, as you say. What we'll hear in a future retelling about the horrible atrocities you guys committed. Remember that 3 sessions ago when you guys murdered those innocent people?
Cricket is quite willing to extend the benefit of the doubt to these supposed war criminals and all that kind of stuff when the evidence is ambiguous.
But wizards, oh man, they have no mercy.
There's unambiguous evidence in this case. These guys are up to no good.
Now,
So, where did it end? Sorry? So you guys are mid-combat.
Mid-combat.
the question is, what makes you trust serendipity by Butcher of Aurora? She's on the top.
It's true.
She's not a full party member.
Is she even participating?
Oh yeah. In
She
fact,
could have some enemies in the mage community.
She usually participates, and she was useful in the butcher fight too, because her fireball. It's all she does. She always participates.
well, see, the wizards usually hang back from the front
Yeah,
line.
she just didn't want to get into a little tiny room with everyone.
Yeah. And so frequently the stuff the wizards, especially the 4th edition wizards are controllers rather than the damage
Are you at all worried that you're going to kill this guy and he's going to let out a howling scream and you're like, well, we're fucked?
Oh, you mean like he's got pizza?
Yeah.
No, you take damage.
That's true.
Oh,
That's true.
you damaged him.
We bloodied him.
Oh, okay, so is that not happening?
Although the first time you encountered the Butcher of Bracken Ridge, you thought you were damaging him because you didn't. Because I made a bluff check that he was going and you guys didn't see through it. So maybe this guy is just bluffing you.
Was John rolling any dice during combat?
Maybe he's bluffing being covered in blood. It's like that lizard that shoots it from its eyes.
The wizard auto hits you. I'm just doing this for fun.
We're basically committed here.
Yeah.
In theory, if this guy runs away, that's pretty bad because he's going to go and tell his buddies, hey, you know.
You kind of assume there's
Have you ever seen a fight?
Although that's a little bit different
That
than like
shit's
a
off the
squad leader.
Yeah.
It's so fast you can't even see it.
Yeah.
It's a desk job. It's totally a desk job.
He's a figurehead.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't even set himself ablaze and intimidate. Was there like a puff of smoke on his arm?
John described it as a magical card.
Sparks and yeah, you should leave.
Wow.
You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You're gonna fail at magic around here like that. I don't want to be around.
So that's where the session ended in mid-combat. It's very suspenseful.
I was thinking like there isn't really much to tell because over half the session was spent debating how they were going to approach those mages in various different ways. And
So what were some of the opinions of the group regarding approaching the mages? Who was against it?
Some people said we should just trail them all the way to Graveridge, or just keep trailing them forever to see where they go. Some people said we should go in there and explicitly ask, why did you destroy that town?
That would have been bad.
Some people wanted to. Some people suggested just. There was definitely a couple people at one point who were saying, let's just go in there and attack them. Because I think they're like, well, they're here, so they must be level appropriate.
There goes that assumption.
I didn't think it was a good idea to attack them, even with that assumption, which I didn't really explicitly have one right.
I don't know. There was some debate about sneaking in and what to do with the town when they got to the town. Like, should they ambush them? Should they talk to them? What ended up happening is each person just kind of did what they wanted.
Yeah.
And
I think someone was arguing that we should join them.
well, that was
No, the team. Towns obviously give good experience.
well, because that was when they saw they were training
Yes,
peasants.
that's right.
Before they saw that the peasants didn't seem very happy about it, and they're like, let's just, or even maybe after that, they're like, let's just offer to join them. We're like, hey, we want to learn magic. You look like a traveling magic teaching thing. Can you teach us? And that was going to be their bluff, but none of that ever came to be.
We're still traveling performers.
It was interesting because it wasn't even like there was factions. I think every person had a different opinion of what to do. Like wasn't even like two people who agreed.
Yeah.
It was just like everyone thought we should do something different.
You see how difficult my role as party leader is, especially considering that everyone except for Serendipity and Ghost Rider has a veto.
They can just be like,
I'm
quiet,
not going to
cricket.
use the video. And then someone else says, no, you can speak. No, you can quiet. No, you can speak.
Cricket felt really bad because she like overstepped. Quiet, Cricket.
So if intimidation had worked, it was, you guys would have had to back off.
It's actually kind of interesting because it actually worked out poorly for them because what my intent was that he was going to do that intimidating, he was going to make them all read them flame, and then they would get a chance to make their like in combat arcana check to get a sense of his power level, so they would get a sense of how powerful he was. So they would know that that at least this guy was like out of their league, right? But that didn't happen, so they didn't find out. They were like, this guy sucks.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what are you gonna do? Fart in our general direction.
And so, that was actually my intent to like give them a clue because I didn't want them to be like, oh, let's just walk in there, but it just didn't really work out.
Should have two of them do it at the same time.
We did wisely wait until one was all by himself.
Yeah, there definitely was a sense that like, even if they definitely were powerful enough that you didn't want to take them on directly. But I don't think anyone expected like level 15.
Okay.
Yeah, even if they were our level, there's 10 of them. Plus a bunch of peasants.
No, it's foolishness.
You can't just run into the camp going, kill everyone. Because the fireballs from every direction.
You could have trapped on the road ahead of them.
I would have tried to figure out if I could create a listening device.
Of course, she's already gone.
Well, we're still pretty low level, and there are a bunch of wizards.
Dear Diary, today we met a group of people who were very unhappy. And yes, they potentially destroyed, wiped out from existence an entire community of people. But we don't know for sure if they knew what they were doing. Maybe they weren't in their right minds. Cricket reminds me that there can be lots of reasons for things, and we don't know what the reasons are. they just seemed so unhappy. When Cricket and I tried to be with them, they utterly rejected us. And I felt really sad. You know, it reminded me of some of my brothers and just how they were just so determined to be angry. It's like nothing could get into them. They were just, it was like something was influencing them from without that they had no power over. I don't know what's going on, but I really hope there's something that we can do to help. And I'm scared about this group and what they might be planning. I'm scared that they're headed towards Greybridge and what that could mean. I wish Adoran were here. He'd know what to do.
I made a terrible mistake, and I do hope that Aurora and the rest of the party will forgive me for it. When Aurora and I were in the encampment with all those wizards, I spoke out of turn. Aurora had to tell me to be quiet. It was terrible. I made such a mistake. I won't make that mistake again. I will keep to my place. Oh, and we may also have bitten off more than we can chew with this ambush thing, but I think it'll go okay. I think we're doing all right. We'll be fine. It's just that I do hope Aurora will forgive me.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I know that the dreamer's supposed to be looking out for everybody because it's my dream, but I'm scared. I mean, I wish I wasn't dreaming. I wish Kem was here, cause he'd know what to do. I wish that Lita was here, cause she could make those magical amulets which could hide us. And then these people killed a whole town, and just sat there eating chicken. How do humans even eat chicken like that? Like, it used to be alive, and then they just kill it and eat it. It's horrible. And they burned them alive inside that building, and just one of them is gonna kill us all. We gotta run away. Like, I wish Kem was here. He was really smart.
Dear Diary, I forgot to tell you that Parsnip is doing a lot better. In fact, I think she's stopped flickering entirely. I feel really relieved. I'm concerned that something will happen to her on this journey. I feel like I should be looking for a good home for her. I thought maybe the brook would be the answer to that, but no, obviously not. Maybe if somehow we can get Brooke back, then Parsley can live with her.
Parsnip.
Parsnip?
Parsnip.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Parsley would be a better name.
Parsnip.
Named her Parsnip. Why did I name her that? I'm so weird. Okay. Anyway, I'm really glad my cat's doing better. Makes me so excited. I just want to shine.
Oh dear. I think we might have miscalculated something. Nothing I can do seems to faze him. I guess I could... No, that won't work. Or I could... Oh... This isn't good. On the plus side, we didn't try to attack them all. That was probably a good idea.
Starting to get a little exasperated with Aurora's antics. I know she means well.
Antics?
But she's gonna get us killed. She went off on some crazy harebrained scheme and took Cricket with her, and at that moment I figured we'd be down to a party of 3, and that's if we count Serendipity, Van Goldstride, and Malor. And at that point I think we might as well, because otherwise we'd be down to me and Croesus, and yeah, anyway, no point in looking at things too grimly. Although these wizards are pretty strong. They're even stronger than I am. And I don't know how we're going to deal with them. None of our ideas have been good. So, I don't know. What I'd like to do is get to Greybridge and get some military might on this situation, but we'll see what we can pull off. We're gonna have to survive first, so here's hoping.
Dear Diary, also, I think this party really underestimates my abilities. My abilities to get to know people and make them like me and accept me. And I know that sounds stupid, but, like, it wasn't dumb to go and try to find out who they were. It wasn't that risky. It was just, I just feel like this group could treat me with more respect. I'm glad Cricket's here. I think she at least loves me. Oh, and my cat. Whatever its name is.